Once again, Ben TV Africa's representative Femi Oyewole, who has been keeping tabs on happenings in EKITI, brings to you our esteemed viewers, especially EKITI Indigenous in Diaspora, this special wholesome launching of EKITI Development Foundation, EDF.
The case of the Land of Honor, EKITI State, can be regarded as one that is so blessed.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome this august audience from far and near to the Land of Honor.
And in the popular words of the governor, vote one, get one free. Fuck.
These people are concerned. They have always known that by voting FAYEMI into office, it is bound to be a case of vote one, get one free.
The First Lady of EKITI State, ERELU BISI FAYEMI, has initiated a non-governmental organization, EKITI Development Foundation. The unveiling and launch, which held on the 10th of June 2011, had prominent and influential as well as people from all walks of life come together. From politics, governance, men and women in both public and private sectors, stakeholders in charity organizations from Africa and around the world. Also present at the lunch were prominent women leaders like the country program director at United Nations Women, Dr. Grace Ongile, who was the keynote speaker, and wives of other state governors who were among many special guests of honor. They gathered at the Adetiloye Hall Trade Fair Complex in Ado-Ekiti to primarily support the plight of women and the youth, as is the focus of the organization. Uniquely, the EDF's goal is to access and collaborate with the grassroots through various organizations that can reach the people, like civil society organizations, cooperative societies, networks, and community-based groups. Key areas of focus of the EDF will be the economic empowerment, political participation, healthcare, education and training, promoting local philanthropy and the arts, and generally improving the lives of women and enhancing leadership capacities in women and youth, as well as the standards of living. EDF shall from henceforth be that body that supports women and youth in any of these endeavors. The ceremony kicked off with a live band playing music to usher in dignitaries. Prayers, and also the introduction of special and invited guests.
We thank the Lord for bringing us together today for this special occasion. We thank the Lord for sparing our lives. We thank Him most especially for granting us traveling mercies to arrive here safely. May the name of the Lord be blessed now and forevermore. Holy Spirit into our midst. We need the Spirit of the Lord to power us through the Holy Spirit, so that all that we shall do today may be to the greater glory of His holy name. We make our prayers in the name of Jesus the Lord. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Deputy Governor of EKITI State, our own radiant, diligent and brilliant Deputy Governor, Mrs. Fumilayo Anthony Olayinka, Your Excellency, you're very much welcome. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. The First Lady of Lagos State, Dame Emmanuela Abimbola Fashola, Your Excellency, you're very much welcome. Mrs. Olufunsho Amos, you're very much welcome. The First Lady of Ondo State, Mrs. Olukemi Mimiko. Your Excellency, you are very much welcome. Thank you very much. We have the First Lady of Oyo State with us here, Mrs. Florence Ajimobi. You are very much welcome. By the wife of the Chief of Staff of the state, you are very much welcome. And Haja Kafayat Oyetola, you are very much welcome. And the wife, Chief Mrs. Babalola, you are welcome into our midst. Thank you very much. The acting Chief Judge of EKITI State, Honorable Justice Ayodeji Daramana, you are welcome. The Secretary to the State Government, and Haji Dr. Ganio Udami, you are welcome, sir. The Head of Service, Mr. Olubumi Famosaya, MNI, you are welcome. The Chief of Staff, I will welcome the Deputy Chairman of the Action Congress of Nigeria, Chief Dele Falusi. You are very much welcome.
Several guests spoke, like the keynote speaker, the Country Director, United Nations for Women, Dr. Grace Ongile, who stressed how lucky the people of EKITI are to have the wife of the governor. She further highlighted that the EDF should transcend beyond this period, stressing how important it is to the development of the EKITI people, among other things.
Thank you very much. I would like to start by saying that I'm really honored. It is my singular honor to have been invited by my dear friend, the Deputy Governor, to come and give this keynote address to this very important occasion. I say this with a lot of humility because I know Mrs. Deputy Governor personally for the work she's done, and I think that you people of EKITI State are extremely fortunate to have with you such experienced people like the Governor, His Excellency, and Madam for being here and coming up with all the development programs to really demonstrate and bring it back home. You are very, very happy. I must also say at the onset that after coming to Nigeria in March of this year, this is my first official visit out of Abuja. So I may apply to be a member of EKITI State. I'm really delighted to be here, and I like being associated with success. And I think from what I've heard and read, EKITI State should be a model state, and we'll work together to see how that happens. Now, focusing on that and the whole aim and objective of the launch of EKITI, the Development Foundation, we all know that the work that is being done is really to improve the livelihood, not only of women and youth, but also men. I again salute the First Lady and His Excellency for the foresight that they have in really trying to make this a priority and meanwhile this very important initiative. Of course, we all know that there are lots of socio-economic challenges that we face. And really, as I said earlier, this is being spearheaded by development experts in terms of leadership from His Excellency and the wife. So this is an added advantage. One key point I want to stress during this keynote address is that the EKITI Development Foundation is really an institution that has to be owned by the people. That is very critical in terms of sustainability, so that even if Madam and His Excellency are not there, it continues. I think that's a very critical point for sustaining and owning it, and that's why I'm very, very happy to see so many people attending this function. My apologies, I did not recognize the presence of the is the Deputy Governor. Now, I'm here representing UN Women as the Director and Representative of UN Women in Nigeria. I wanted to share with you what we are doing because this is very closely linked to what the foundation here is aimed at doing or is already doing. You may be aware that the UN Women became operational formally on the 1st of January 2011. And it brought 4 organizations together. And these are the then UNIFEM no more exists, the Division of Advancement of Women, called DAW in acronym form, the International Research and Training Institute for Advancement of Women, called INSTRO, and the Office of the Special Advisor on Gender Issues and Advancement of Women. I want to emphasize here too, the formation of UN Women is grounded on the vision of equity that is enshrined in the UN Charter. And the priorities are critical to note. We focus on issues affecting women that expand women's voices and leadership and participation. And really, we know where women are when it comes to participation in all levels, at all levels in the country. There's the whole issue of violence against women at all levels, be it at the household level or even at the political level. There's a whole issue of women's role in peace and security. This is a very critical area because of the role women play and the constraints they undergo when there's war. And there's also the whole issue of allocating revenue to factors or sectors that affect women's lives. And this is what we call gender budgeting. Now, I want to emphasize that the whole issue of women is really critical because we do know the importance of Millennium Development Goals. And Millennium Development Goals, the 8 goals, we all know that the 3rd one is on gender equality. Now, if we do not ignore, or if we ignore gender as a number 3 goal, all the other factors will be achieved. And this includes infant mortality, maternal mortality, education. So the mother is a central role in development. And of course, the creation of UN Women came in at the right time because these are issues we've been grappling with for a very long time. And now the UN has really established that one organization to try and see exactly how to go on with addressing the challenges women face. My experience in the last few years, being a Kenyan national, and that's why the facilitator greeted me in Swahili, I've seen many countries within Africa. And the issue of poverty alleviation remains critical. We need not to ignore one gender, and this gender that we need not ignore is a woman, because of the central role that women play in our development. Women also have numbers like men, and that is why they have to contribute equally in the development agenda. I must say here briefly that women have different roles from men. The role of women is different from that of a man. And that's why we need to partner with each other. We need to talk to each other in order to achieve our development goals. We also know that women face constraints that are different from men. Be it in education, be it in employment, be it in human rights, decision making, the whole issue of HIV and AIDS, the whole issue of female genital mutilation, and other cultural issues. All these issues are very heavy and we need to address them critically. Now, I reflected and said, what can we do? We cannot ignore the youth because they're also very critical in really ensuring that leadership continues in our various states. So what we need to do, and the other presenters will let you know that the whole issue of transformative change messages, we need to ask ourselves, to what extent do we own the process? That is question number one. Where do we find ourselves and where are we going? What are the lessons and what can we learn from the past? Are we communicating with men or are we talking to ourselves? We need everybody on board, including men and children and youth. What are we doing about our mindset? So this brings me to the conclusion, and we really need to come out with clear action that should be taken immediately with commitment. And I, as the Director of Youth and Women in the country, I will be able to discuss with my team and His Excellency and Her Excellency on how we can partner together to make the livelihoods of the EKITI people better. Thank you very much.
Then came side attractions like dances and dance drama that depicted what EDF is all about.
ṣe. Ọmọ rèé, ó ti lọ pápá bora àti jẹ́wọ́ àdókùn. Ṣé kí n wá dúró? Kí àwọn ọmọ wọ̀nyí máa tọ́jú mi padà ní? Rárá, Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ gàgà bẹ́ẹ̀ kí n gbogbo máa lọ. Ó gbọ́dọ̀ wá tẹ́lẹ̀.
Following all these was a talk show.
Once again, Ben TV Africa's representative Femi Oyewole, who has been keeping tabs on happenings in EKITI, brings to you our esteemed viewers, especially EKITI indigenous in diaspora, this special wholesome launching of EKITI Development Foundation, EDF.
Featuring philanthropists, humanitarian aid workers, and much more.
Well, I realize time is not very much in our favor, so I go straight. Philanthropy, to me, is the act of helping or assisting others who badly need help and cannot afford to meet their needs. I think I will just describe it as such. Thank you.
For us, one thing we have to first start with, I think the first thing is that Africans are generous by nature, and we have been engaging in charity across the board. However, what we haven't done very well is structured philanthropy, and I'm happy EKITI Development is sort of building that community of structured philanthropy. What we're seeing now in Africa that we should continue is finally a small but growing group of Africans that are putting their wealth to very good use. You know the big ones like Tony Lumelu, Tigwa Danjuma, and the rest of us in Nigeria. But I think there are much more that Africans are doing by building institutions, philanthropic institutions, that are addressing the social problems on the continent.
To the first family of EKITI State in establishing the EKITI Development Foundation. It is an indication, I believe, of the commitment to invest in the citizens of this state. And this is an indication, I think, of the belief of the wealth of this state. It's its people. An investment in these people is critical. And the leadership of this state has shown that example extremely well. In terms of what we have not done well, I think there are a number of things. We have not been good at telling the story of what we do well. The general belief in Africa is that it is a state of helplessness. It is a continuing cycle of, just hopelessness. And this simply is not true. I mean, there are examples everywhere which we do not see, and which we do not seem to value. And I think that particular narrative has to change. We have to also be good at telling the story of what we do well. Our communities depend on the people, especially the women, to thrive in times of difficulty.
Philanthropy, to me, is the art of giving, the art of helping others, the art of raising those who are poorer than you and making them great. The art of giving is a very, very serious thing. It is easy to take, but it's very difficult to give. Those who are involved in philanthropy must be prepared to give.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to come to this. I want to speak on behalf of our founder, Mr. Tony Alulu, and he sends his regards. And we pledge the support of the Tony Alulu Foundation to the success of your foundation. I just want everyone here to know that your First Lady is the goddess of philanthropy across Africa. So she is. So it's an honor to be here supporting her today, and we've been together at events all over Africa, so it's nice to now be here in EKITI. This is my third time in your state, and I hope that we'll be back here many more times. In terms of how our founder's vision has translated into what we do as a philanthropy. For me, the fundamental lesson from his vision is that his vision is he was able to build a company in Nigeria and across Africa that is helping to contribute to Africa's economic growth and transformation from within. And so what he did when he started a foundation is he said, what is it that I am good at? And what is it that I can be, that I can give back in a way that takes from the best of me? And so this foundation is focused on equipping the next generation of Africa's business leaders to be as successful and to drive Africa's growth from within through private sector approaches. And so the fundamental lesson is, if you are going to start a philanthropy, one of the best ways to assure success is make sure that what your focus is something related to what your expertise is and what made you successful to begin with. And that's the way that you can be sure that it's consistent and that you can add substantial value to the areas that you're trying to influence.
ERELU BISI FAYEMI, wife of the governor of EKITI State, Nigeria, unlike other women leaders who rise to power, has had over 20 years experience of working with humanitarian organizations since completing her education in the United Kingdom, and has been involved with women training and socio-economic development, especially for African women within and outside Africa, and has received lots of recognitions and awards.
Thank you so much for supporting the dreams and aspirations of the Dr. FAYEMI administration. And I'd like to support you especially for standing by me and standing with me in this process. A lot of people have asked me why it is that I'm always so passionate about women's issues or issues that concern youth and children. And I tell them that, to cut a long story short, because of two words that I shared with a group of young women in Lagos a couple of weeks ago, and my dear sister Dame Emanuela Fashioner was there as well. It's because of two words. One is anger, and the second is choices. Growing up as a young woman in our male-dominated societies here, I was angry about the fact that it seemed as if women did not have choices. I had an older friend who was a neighbor of mine when I was a teenager in Lagos. For the purposes of this conversation, I will call her Auntie Shadi. Every other night, her husband would beat her. She spent 5 years trying to get a degree in business administration, and for 3 of those 5 years, she was pregnant all the time. And her husband beat her every other night. And so I spent a lot of time with her, consoling her, trying to put something on her wounds. And I would ask her, why do you put up with this? Why do you stay? Why don't you go back to your people? Why don't you ask your husband to treat you better? And she would tell me, I have to stay because I do not have a choice. That made me angry. The fact that women do not have a choice but to live lives of indignity, lives of humiliation, lives of being regarded as second-class citizens. And this is what ultimately influenced my career choices. I have spent the past 25 years of my life working in the fields of international development, social justice, gender and women's rights, and also political activism. Through all the identities that I've had over the past couple of years, being the wife of a state governor in Nigeria, I would like to say is by far the most challenging, because a lot of people have certain expectations of wives of political leaders. On the one hand, it is claimed that our roles are unconstitutional, and we accept that. But on the other hand, we are expected to provide support to our husbands, to help pick up the things that they don't have any time for, to attend to the people that they can't see once they leave for the office at 7 in the morning and come back at 3 in the morning. We are the ones left to deal with the communities, with families, with friends and so on, who can't get Mr. Governor's attention. And it is in the process of trying to grapple with these expectations that we then decide to set up initiatives, which unfortunately many people refer to derisively as pet projects. It is true that there is a lot of skepticism around projects established by the wives of government functionaries, because we know that quite a lot of them do fizzle out once the office holders have left. Some of us are under no illusion that if we were to call a gathering like this a couple of years down the line, we might not have a hall this full. Those are the realities of political life. But having said that, what I have always thought to myself, because of the work I've done in the field of formal and organized philanthropy, is that if you establish an institution that is truly owned by the people, if you address the needs of communities and listen to what they have to say, and mobilize the required financial, human, and material resources from a broad section of society, you would have an institution that can last in perpetuity, way beyond your days in office. And so therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you this afternoon to assure you that all the love, all the affection, and all the respect you have shown by supporting this initiative will not be in vain, because I will work hard to ensure, together with my other board members at the EKITI Development Foundation and our board of advisors who will be inaugurating shortly, we work hard to ensure that the EDF becomes a foundation that is sustainable way into the future, way beyond our years in office. A foundation needs to be grounded in values of service, commitment, compassion, and raising the voices of the voiceless. So we are going to ensure that this will be an organization that makes good on all the promises it was established to support. We will also ensure that good governance, leadership, and management become the key areas that we are going to work on to ensure that the foundation is well respected. And most importantly, as I said earlier, we will continue to work to ensure that the communities that we seek to serve truly own this foundation. So anywhere you go in EKITI State in the next couple of years, you will find that the EDF has left something there. I would like to close by thanking all those who have come from far and near to support us, especially my sisters and colleagues, the first ladies of the other states and women who have decided to come and make this her first official outing in her capacity as a UN Women Rep. I thank you very much. Please, as the African Women's Development, so for those of you who love our great country, for those of you who love EKITI State in particular, whether you are from EKITI State or not, we implore you, please put your money where your heart is, and you will not regret it. Thank you, and God bless.
This is the day the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing in it. I recall when our sister, Dr. Oyewole, was making her keynote address, she said, this project should endure and must endure. Indeed, no wonder this project was not named or christened or branded ERELU BISI FAYEMI Foundation. No wonder this has not been christened FAYEMI Foundation. It has been christened and named EKITI Women Foundation. It simply means this is for all EKITI women. Can we give ERELU BISI FAYEMI Foundation? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we know the capabilities and we know the capacities of the lady behind this project. We have all heard what she has done all over the world, what she has done in Africa, and we are sure that this project, the EKITI Women Foundation, the Development Foundation, pardon me, will endure and will indeed endure. I therefore have the honor and the joy to unveil this logo, to the glory of God and for the good use of EKITI women.
Giving being the essence of the day's gathering was what came up last as people came up to pledge and give.
In kind, in the sense that by the nature of the job I do, I will donate a vehicle to the EKITI Development Initiative. The second part will be a cash of 5 million.
With my friends, we decided to donate a classroom, a smart classroom, technology classroom with 40 computers and wired up. ERELU calls me Bodari, and the last time she spoke to me, she said, it's not been easy. You've asked all of us to go all over the world to work, and the people are hardworking. I will donate a token of 10 million naira.
We will support you, but initially we support with 10 million naira.
I have the permission of my wife to announce on behalf of both of us our token donation towards the EKITI Development Fund of 2 million naira. When I was leaving Lagos, I got a phone call from a good friend of mine, and we discussed, and I explained to him a Yoruba saying. The saying is that Dada Oleja, but I explained it to him in English by saying that me may not have plenty of money, but you, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, you have a lot of money. So you have been invited to this program, he said yes, and he asked my advice for how much to donate. And I said to him that because of his connection with us here in EKITI State, that his donation was at least match that of the chief launcher. So I have the honor and privilege, because I may not be able to announce such an amount of money again for a while, to announce on behalf of Alhaji Aliko Dangote a donation of 10 million naira.
On behalf of my sisters and myself, I doubt if we'll be able to do any donation. As you know, Her Excellency already briefed you. We are only supporting. We are helpmates to our husbands. And in our own little way, we will give back our own donation in secret. Public servants don't give their donations publicly. So you will pardon us. We will support. We have already supported. That's why we are in EKITI today. And we will definitely give our 100% support in cash, in kind, in whatever way that we can make sure that this development and this foundation does not fail, and it will never fail. In the mighty name of the Lord. Thank you very much. God bless you.
$50,000 US. The EKITI Development Fund is that we will make grants for the long term to the EKITI Development Foundation, and then they can be grants. And our starting grant will be 10 million naira.
I pledge to this cause a token contribution of 1 million naira.
On his behalf, that his colleagues in the Senate met, all the three of them, and they felt they needed to encourage Your Excellency, our First Lady, and encourage the foundation. And they made a contribution of 500,000 naira. And my own colleagues in the House of Reps equally met, and we contributed a token sum of 1 million naira.
Their gifts of cash and kind were for the further enhancement and encouragement of the EKITI Development Foundation.
Gentlemen of the press, on behalf of the government and people of the EKITI State, it gives me great pleasure to welcome this august audience from far and near to the land of honor. I have the distinct privilege to play a dual role at this historic event today. Firstly, as the Chief Executive of this state, it is my responsibility to give full support to all initiatives by development partners aimed at impacting on the quality of life of the over 2.5 million people that call EKITI State home. Secondly, I am here in my capacity as the proud husband of the founder of the EKITI Development Foundation to celebrate a major milestone in our life of passionate commitment to advancing the cause of the disadvantaged segments of our society. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me state that I am sure it is no surprise to many that the wife of Mr. Governor is taking this bold step today. As far as the EKITI people are concerned, they have always known that by voting FAYEMI into office, it is bound to be a case of vote off. Vote one, get one free. As part of this administration's governance feedback framework, we had calls to convene a stakeholders forum just yesterday, Thursday, June 9, 2011, to share details of our state finances with critical stakeholders in EKITI. Many of the attendees were aligned to know the legal resources available to EKITI State as income from federal government allocation and other sources put together. The conclusion, which reinforces what we already know, is that government cannot do it alone. This reason is further made pertinent when you consider the high expectations of the average EKITI person from their elected officials to perform. performance within this context is not an ambiguity. As honorable people, the average EKITI person prides himself or herself in being a man or a woman of his or her words, and therefore expects no less from his neighbor. That is why unfulfilled campaign promises will be the undoing of any politician in EKITI State. Our people, down to the grassroots, have devised their own native governance tracking models with frequent structured policy dialogues in every nook and cranny of the state as their own way of holding their leaders accountable. You can therefore understand the pressure this administration is saddled with to deliver the goods. This is in view of the fact that some 6 years ago, early into our campaigns, we developed our 8-point governance agenda, which was the main article used for engagement of the populace. We also had more sector-specific documents like My Pact with EKITI Women, which was launched on International Women's Day, March 8, 2007. And in that document, we outlined mechanisms through which we're going to try and empower the EKITI women, and they trusted us with their votes in their thousands. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is to the credit of this administration that we have restored the confidence of the associated stakeholders in EKITI State, some of whom had previously packed their bags and left town literally. We have recently established relationships with key development partners, bilateral and multilateral institutions, including the UNDP, EFIE, USAID, UNIDO, UNICEF, UN Women, represented here by Dr. Ogile, WHO, European Union, the World Bank, with a view to attracting development support to the state. I'm sure many in this audience will agree with me that no matter how noble a potential development partner and our objectives are, little or nothing can be achieved in any state without a corresponding degree of capacity, zeal, and passion for development on the part of its leadership. It is in the light of the foregoing that I have welcomed and supported the vision of the EKITI Development Foundation from its embryonic stage till now. I want to further pledge the full cooperation of this administration to work with the EKITI Development Fund in achieving its noble objectives. This administration shall explore opportunities for collaboration in the implementation of programs in all of the identified areas: economic empowerment and livelihoods, promoting the rights of women and enhancing their leadership capacity, enhanced healthcare, education and training, promoting arts, culture and sports, and encouraging a culture of philanthropy and asset building in local communities. Part of our collaborative efforts is the state's economic empowerment strategy through the instrumentality of the state microcredit scheme, which has women and other vulnerable segments of the society at its core value. But what I'm also delighted to announce to this august audience is that the founding and launching of the EKITI Development Foundation has also triggered the arrival of the EKITI Civil Society Fund that would be available for access to all legitimate non-state actors who are involved in the development agenda. I am confident that with the track record of the founder, Her Excellency, ERELU, FAYEMI, and the support of the wide network of like-minded individuals, institutions, and governments, some of which we have seen demonstrated here today, the EDF has come to stay as a veritable catalyst for sustainable development in the state. Once again, I want to thank you all for honoring us with your presence, and I want to congratulate the EKITI Development Foundation team and wish all of you success. Thank you for listening. God bless you, God bless the EKITI State, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Once again, Ben TV Africa's representative Femi Oyewole, who has been keeping tabs on happenings in EKITI, brings to you our esteemed viewers, especially EKITI Indigenous in Diaspora, this special wholesome launching of EKITI Development Foundation, EDF.